Hello Year 9, I'm recording this video here to give you some feedback on some of the questions that you did not quite get right in the quiz I gave you last week. This is really important. I want you to pay attention to the corrections of these particular questions as I'm planning to give you another quiz very similar to the one you have done, but with slightly different numbers to see if we have cleared some of those misconceptions. So I'm not going to go through every single question, only some of the questions that I found that you were making mistakes on. So let's get started with this question. Which expression correctly represents the following description? Subtract 5 from h and then multiply by 6. So what are we really doing? We're subtracting 5 from h first to get h minus 5 and then multiply the entire thing by 6. So if I want to multiply this whole thing by 6, I need to multiply the entire thing by 6. If I look now at the options that I have, the correct answer is A. However, I want you to understand why it is not B, it's not C, and it's not D. So let's look at B. Well, it's not quite the same. You have here, if you chose this, you've indicated that you really know that multiplying the whole thing by 6 means getting the 6 outside the bracket at the front, and we multiply by the whole thing. So that was correct. However, you have here subtracted h from 5 instead of subtracting 5 from h. So in the future you have to be really careful about which way around you write your subtractions to get the marks for the learning that you have been doing, okay? Now let's look at C. Again, it's not quite. Subtract 5 from h means h minus 5 rather than 5 minus h. Also, the convention for multiplying by 6 are that we should have the 6 at the front, not at the end here, and we also do not use the multiplication sign in algebra, so that's why it's definitely not C. With D, it is so close. It's probably the closest to the correct answer. Your answer is actually correct in that this is the way, or this is what the description was. This is exactly what the description said. Subtract 5 from h, subtracted it and then multiplied, and you showed me that you understood that it means multiplying the whole thing by 6 because you've got the brackets there. However, because of the convention that I was talking about earlier, it means that the 6 has to go at the front and we do not use the multiplication sign. So next time I give you a quiz, you will have something really similar to this question with different options, different numbers, and hopefully you will get it correct the next time. And now let's look at this question. Which answer shows the following calculation using the correct algebraic convention? And we can see here we've got a collection of different numbers and different letters. So we're going to collect like terms. So we're starting by collecting variables that are the same. We've got A plus another A, so that is giving us 2 lots of A, so that's 2A. That's how we write 2 lots of A. And if I look at the next thing that I have numbers. I have positive 6 and I'm adding to it 5, so that gives me positive 11 overall, so I have positive 11. And now I have a j here, plus j, plus j, plus j, so that's 3 lots of j, and we write that as 3j. So if I look at the different options that I have been given here, the first one I've got 11, yeah, that matches. I've got 2a, they're positive, and I have a positive 3j. Therefore, A is the correct answer. However, why is B, C, and D are not the correct answers? If we look at option B here, the 2 numbers have not been added, so it's not in its simplest form. It's an equivalent expression, but it's not in its simplest form. Numbers have not been added. Similarly here, the numbers have not been added. It almost feels like the student who would have picked this would have simplified this bit on its own and this bit on its own, and that was not needed. So we still have like terms that we need to collect together. We've not done that by adding the numbers. And if we look at the last one, this is my main concern, is that the student here has multiplied the letters to form a to the power of 2 and j to the power of 3 instead of adding it. So we have to be really careful. A multiplied by a will give us a squared. J multiplied by j will give us j to the power of 3, or j cubed, not adding it. So j plus j is 3 lots of j, not j cubed. So we need to be really, really careful not to choose D. Okay, and looking at the next question, which model does not correctly represent the following expression? And the expression is 3n plus 4, 3 lots of n plus 4. It is really important that we read the question carefully. It says which model does not correctly, so it's not which model actually represents this. We need to be very careful when we're selecting. So I think that's one of the mistakes that some of you have done. So let's look at option A. What do I have here? I have n plus 3. And how many times do I have n plus 3? I have it 1 time, twice, 3 and 4 times. So actually the expression that I have here is 4 lots of n plus 3, which is not the same as this expression. So we know that it is definitely not A. So I already know that the answer is A. But what about the rest? Do they all represent it correctly? Let's have a look. If we look at option B here, I have again n plus 4. So I can see I have n plus 4. I have another n plus 4, and then I have another n plus 4. So I have 1, 2, 3 lots of n plus 4, which is this expression, 3 lots of n plus 4. If I look at C, what do I have here? I have n, so I've got 3 lots of n, and I have 3 lots of 4. So I can think about this in 2 ways. I can think that I have, well, n and a 4, and I have that 3 times. So I've got, if I club them together or join them together, this n plus the 4, I have another n plus 4, and then I have another n plus 4. That gives me 3 lots of n plus 4. Or I can think about it, if I expand the bracket here, this is going to give me 3 lots of n plus 12, and this is actually what I have here, 3n plus the 12. 3 multiplied by 4 gives me 12, and therefore it does represent. And if I look at the last option, I have n plus 4 3 times. So again, this correctly represents the expression. So the answer that I should have chosen here is A. And because this one does not represent 3 lots of n plus 4, it represents 4 lots of n plus 3. And if we look at this question here, which answer shows the following calculation using the correct algebraic convention? So again, it's all about representing things algebraically. I have 1 divided by, and I've got brackets, e multiplied by h plus 3. What does this really mean is that if I look at it, everything on the left of the division sign here becomes the numerator, and everything on the right becomes the denominator, because I'm dividing 1 by everything else. 1 becomes the numerator, so that's 1 divided by everything else inside the bracket. Now if you look at what's inside the bracket, I'm multiplying e by h, so I can write it as EH, because we do not use the multiplication sign in algebra, and then I'm adding a 3, so that's plus 3. Therefore I can see that A is the correct answer. By why is it not B, C or D? But if you look here, anyone who may have picked this one as the correct answer, you can see that we've got the 1 divided by, but then here the student would have multiplied e by 3 h plus 3, and that's not what we were doing in this expression. We were just multiplying the e by h. There was no indication that we're multiplying it by 3. There was no inside bracket or anything like that, so this one is not correct. If you look at C, what the student here would have done is completely ignored the brackets, done 1 divided by e, which is 1 out of e, multiplied it by h to give them h out of e, and then added the 3. So that is completely wrong. And if we look at the last one, it was the closest to the correct answer. The only thing is that the student here would have left the multiplication sign, and we're not allowed to do that. So you needed to get rid of it by writing this here as EH.